The gap at the flag point, 5.23 of a second. Fastest lap going to John Wolfis at 1 minute 9.040. In third place, number 50, Bill Addison with his Caterham Superlight. In fourth place, number 12, Scott Hubel with the Peugeot 205 T16R. One lap down. In fifth place, number 65, Ian Towers with the MK Striker. In sixth place, number 40, Neil Claxton with the Suzuki SC100. In seventh place, number 89, Daniel Kell, Ford Sierra Cosworth XR 4x4. In eighth place, number 31, Gary Bowers, BMW 135. In ninth place, number 78, Alex Prentice, Volkswagen Golf. And in 10th place, having lost a lot of time on the opening lap, number 3, Chris Huntley with the Subaru Impreza WRX. The class winners, Class A1 won by the race winner Matty Cobb. Class B won by number 89, Daniel Kell. Class C was won by number 1, Stephen Rees with his Lotus Elise. Class D won by number 131, Sam Smith's Mazda MX-5. Class E1 won by number 29, Justin Cox. And Class E2 won by 65, Ian Towers. I think that caters for all the class winners. And good reliability shown, just the 2 retirements from the 28 starters. And we'll see them again later on in the afternoon. So one more race before the lunch break, and this will be the Miata Trophy first race, in which we'll see Paul O'Neill. Adam. Hopefully we'll get a chance to hear from the leading drivers in that race. But in the meantime, I will give you the grid for the Miata Trophy. The front 6 places on the grid based on the times that the drivers set in the Super Pole shootout after the main qualifying session, which the top 6 from the main qualifying session took part, and ended up with Paul O'Neill on pole position, number 29, and alongside him, number 17, Will Morris. If you have access to the digital program, page 5 is where you'll find the entry for the Miata Trophy. So 29 and 17 is the front row. The second row, number 19, David Chapman, and 26, Drew Fletcher. 19 and 26 is row 2. Row 3, number 42, Cowley Atkins, and 8, Aidan Hills. 42 and 8 is row 3. The fourth row, number 7, Alex Miller, and 5, John Langridge. 7 and 5, row 4. Row 5, number 1, Declan Lee, and number 2, John Robinson. 1 and 2 is row 5. Row 6, number 4, Nicholas Stott, and 33, Dylan Stepney. 4 and 33, row 6. Row 7, 68, Martin Heath, and 28, Jack Hodges. 68 and 28 is row 7. Row 8, 55, Simon Fleet, and number 40, Ray Worley. 55 and 40, row 8. Row 9, 119, Liz Walton, and 121, Gary Smith. 119 and 121, row 9. Row 10, number 24, Marcus Roswell Potts, and number 3, Tiart Stein. 24 and 3, row 10. Row 11, number 9, Duncan Harris, and 88, Rowan Lundy. 9 and 88, row 11. And at the back, I think therefore with a 10-second delay, number 62, Kevin Sylvan. Cars setting off on the green flag lap, and so welcome everybody who's here and at Donington Park, also watching the streaming of this race, the Mazda Miata Trophy, and a great qualifying session we saw, complete with the Super Pole shootout, which went in favour of guest driver Paul O'Neill. Now, many of you will know of or know Paul O'Neill from his involvement in the PTCC commentary coverage. And also as a driver coach. Paul interviewed for Motorsport News, had a few comments to make about his reputation being on the line, because he hasn't raced for a while. It does seem as though he's been around forever, doesn't it? But he hasn't raced for a while, and is very keen to ensure that his role as a driver mentor and driver coach isn't disrupted by not putting on the best possible performance in this race. Well, he's done a good job in qualifying. He ended up, I think, third quickest in the first main part of the qualifying, but that was enough to get him through into the Super Pole, and out of the Super Pole he emerged with the fastest time. So the car's coming up to the grid. 20-minute race.
And we just see the cars there rolling up to the grid boxes. So we slightly staggered with the, looks like it's going to be...
It's a side-by-side group.
I don't think it's going to be Paul O'Neill on pole position, because I believe he was in the... Is that going to be Paul O'Neill?
Yeah, he's okay. He's Paul O'Neill, and then alongside him is Will Morris.
And there's going to be David Chapman with Drew Fletcher on the second row.
Yeah, Declan Lee leads the championship at the moment, 9 points ahead of John Langridge. Nicholas Stott and the absent Daniel Parron-Smith. Next, the lights go out, and as the cars set off towards Redgate, it's three abreast. Good start from the second row, I notice, by Drew Fletcher. I think it could be another slipstreamer like the Caterham races are. Anyway, they're all bunched up. We've had our appetites whetted by the performance of the MX-5s in the previous race. And as they make their way down towards the old hairpin for the first time, two cars trying to make a break. One of them, Paul O'Neill, is it Will Morris he's taken with him, or Drew Fletcher, who made that good start from the second row?
I want to say that's going to be Will Morris in that one, just because he's made some really good gains there. But the 29 leads out from Paul O'Neill. Some really good stuff there in behind, and that's going to allow O'Neill to try and break ahead. The number one there of Declan Lee. He was on the grass at one point at the very start, making some very aggressive moves, almost going off to crane of curves there down into old Heaven, but managed to gather it up somehow. I believe he has made a couple of places. We'll be able to see that on the timing screens here. A big cloud of dust there. I think maybe somebody has gone off here, but back to our leaders here. Paul O'Neill will come across that timing line and will lead here at Donington Park, and it does look like it is going to be Will Morris as far as we're aware. It will update now. It's going to be the number 8 there of Aidan Hills. So Hills has made an absolute rocket ship of a start. He's now going to be following in the footsteps of Paul O'Neill here. Will Morris drops to 3rd with Fletcher now in 4th place.
And then John Langridge in 5th place. In 6th place, number 19, David Chapman from the second row. And then in 7th place is number 2, John Robinson. In 8th place is number 4, Nicholas Scott, 3rd in the championship. Down through the very colourful cars coming through the old hairpin at the moment. But Paul O'Neill, you can see him working really hard at the wheel there to build up an advantage on the opening lap. Is it going to work for him? No, it has yet. I think he's still got Aidan Hills right on his tail after that excellent start Adam was talking about.
So I can really feel the pressure there. Paul O'Neill will have, as a driver coach, as someone who's driven in the likes of the British Touring Car Championship, driven in the likes of British GT. He'll be kind of feeling the pressure, and we'll hope to see Paul O'Neill back to more racing, but he'll be really tested on his kind of quote-unquote return to racing. Some big battles there and behind. I think that's Fletcher and Langridge in there as well. Almost a bit of a push there. Chapman, I think, was trying to join in the fun there, but ultimately get the door slammed in his face. They fire their way down towards turn number 1. Big move up there. That's going to be Aidan Hill looking for the lead of the race, but I'm not sure if he's managed to get past from our TV coverage. He's still side by side there. There has been a potential lead change there. We'll keep you up to date on that one. No. But it looks like Paul O'Neill will just stick ahead there. Yeah, Aidan Hills choosing that inside line, but he is 0.4 of a second faster than O'Neill at that start here.
I almost got the overlap coming out of the old hairpin, so has that helped him get in front? But I think Paul O'Neill's going to realise he's been in the race here. They're almost side by side as they go through McLean's.
And Hill's in front. Change for the lead there. The number 8 will be now leading the race, but Paul O'Neill giving him an absolute biff up the back end here and look to try and make it through, but he's got to bide his time now. Think back to his prime days where he's now having to look at trying to make an overtake. There's a possibility down in towards Redgate. You can break a tad earlier in towards the Robert chicane and just throw yourself through, get the better exit here, and what will the experienced driver decide to do? Because Hills is not one to take that line down.
Now, are they going to hold each other up and allow the followers to close up as well to make it more than just a two-car battle for the lead? Anyway, they go over the line now with the new leader, Aidan Hills, from Paul O'Neill in 2nd place. In 3rd place, number 17, Will Morris, starting from the front row. John Langridge, number 5, is in 4th place. Fastest lap has been set by car number 1, Declan Lee, who is the leader of the championship. He's down in 11th place, so he had a poor opening lap, but Declan Lee has just done the fastest lap. It's one to watch. He is in 11th place at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, he has seemingly gone down a couple of places. He has, in fact, gone down 2 there. So he's now looking to try and make his way back up after a bit of a sketchy start, trying to have a bit of a meeting with the grass. But ultimately has to now just regroup and find his way up. In fact, we've got a big manoeuvre there up in P9 there. That is Lundy up 13 from his grid place, and that is somebody in the pit lane. That I can confirm is the number 7 of Alex Miller. So I believe a pole sitter, pole sitter in at one stage in this series. He is now unfortunately out of this race. But back with this race lead, Ian, this is getting very spicy.
Very close indeed as they come through to complete another lap. So that is now 4 laps completed by the 2 leaders. Hills, O'Neill separated by 0.288 of the second. It's now Paul O'Neill who has the new fastest lap of the race. It's still in 3rd place, number 17, Will Morris. John Langridge 4th. Drew Fletcher, number 26, in 5th place. In 6th place is number 19 still, David Chapman. Behind David Chapman we got in 7th place number 2, John Robinson. Behind John Robinson in 8th place is the very impressively progressive number 88, Rowan Lundy, who started a long way back on the grid, in fact on the back row of the main grid. So that's good going. And still the fastest lap, Declan Lee, number 1, at 1:22.493, so he was quicker last time around than he was on the previous lap.
Yes, it's just continue to work away there. That's all they have to do, just keep going and digging. Aidan Hill, Paul O'Neill still involved in that battle, only 3/10 seconds separating them last time around. Will Morris has dropped a little bit back there. Bit of a wide moment by a couple of battling cars, but there's so much to kind of rack on about in this kind of section. But of course, this is the middle part here. How is Declan Lee doing in his number 1 machine? Because of course he is currently up in that 11th place spot. But I do believe we are looking at down the field a tad with Hodges, Fleet, Sylvian and Aitkins, with Sylvian who came from the back of the field here. I think he was, from what we've seen, he was placed right at the back end of the field and has fought his way right up there to 14th. There's a more move being made down into Red Lodge, a very red hot spot for overtaking.
The other one I'm wondering about, Kevin Sylvain, who was banished to the very back of the grid, having, I think, had some technical infringement as a result of qualifying, and he's in 15th place and not progressing much. But number 1, Declan Lee certainly is. The leaders have gone through, they're on lap 6 now, or the 6th lap. This is a 20-minute race. And got 12 minutes remaining. But the leaders in the lead, number 8, Aidan Hills, from a 3rd row start. Impressive stuff on the opening lap. We're getting some shots of the cars lower down the order now. Number 26,
that's Drew Fletcher.
5th place, Drew Fletcher.
Yeah, Drew Fletcher is really playing a defensive game there up against Chapman. So that's the battle for 5th and 6th. Some decent points there on the line. Now they head over the timing line here. Is Paul O'Neill able to get a run here from our commentary position? He's getting a tad amount of slipstream, but I don't think it's enough to make a move down in towards turn number 1 here at Redgate. He's really piling on the pressure, but he just needs that extra couple of maybe hundredths to be able to just gain onto the back. There are more moves being made down in towards turn number 1 as our feeder continues to cycle through this amount of cars. There's a car off into the gravel. Huge plume of smoke, gravel dust cloud. There you go. So it looks like a car has gone off. Is there a resuming, or is that just a simple, or is that a beaching? We'll have to have a look at that one.
Yeah. Last time around, Aidan Hill set the new fastest lap of the race at 1:22.393, which is quicker than Paul O'Neill's pole position time in qualifying. But Aidan Hill's it is, not Paul O'Neill, who's got this new fastest lap. So the gap first to second, all of 0.389 of a second. Will Morris still 3rd, John Langridge 4th, Drew Fletcher 5th. And some close-up action there. Number 4, Nicholas Stott, in the thick of it with number 26. Number 26, Drew Fletcher.
Yeah, Fletcher's got a little bit hanging off the rear right there of his rear right corner of his car. So that's going to continue flapping away here at the circuit, and he's going to have to now, I think, just try and avoid that coming off the car, because that's going to be a massive issue if that starts to fly off. But yeah, more and more battles continuing are on their way to the inside.
New fastest lap to Paul O'Neill, so they're trading fastest laps here. The gap remaining much the same. Their lap times very similar. Last time around, Aidan Hills did a 1:22.369, and Paul O'Neill followed him across the line just 0.03 of a second slow, 120 quicker, 1:22.329.
Still getting pretty close there, and I think O'Neill is really, again, piling on the pressure as much as he can. He's taking it step by step, baby steps in your quote-unquote return to racing. I think you can start to really feel the adrenaline running through the veins of the 44-year-old as he heads his way through. But to continue looking at our pictures, the number 2 there, that is Robinson. Continuing on his way, Declan Lee looking at the outside of the 88 as Lundy is continuing to make his way through the field, but Declan Lee is putting up a really solid challenge. But looking behind there, I think that's Stepney who's looking at making something happen. That is the 24 in the gravel, unfortunately, and that's Roswell Potts there for the Misty Racing team. Unfortunately, that's going to be a whole load of gravel and a yellow flag down at Old Hairpin Corner, so I wonder if there'll be any possibility of overtaking. I don't think so. Somebody off as well. I think that's going to be the 88. It is Lundy, who was starting to climb up the field, very much so. Unfortunately, now finds himself almost in a face full of barrier, and will have to continue there.
He kept going though, didn't he? He got out of it.
He did.
Yes, yeah, that's right. So number 88, Rowan Lundy, from the back of the grid, drove well for the first part of the race. We've got 8 minutes and 20 seconds remaining, and 8 laps have been completed. But the leaders, are they getting a bit... No, they're not getting spaced out at all. They're still very much together. And Paul O'Neill determined to wrest the lead back from Aidan Hills if he can.
But it's going to be very difficult, because last time around he was quicker, Paul O'Neill, but only by 9 thousandths of a second. So those are the type of margins we're talking about in this spec series that is the Miata Trophy Challenge, Miata Trophy Series, and you can really just tell from the way these cars are being driven, they're not easy to drive, and it is really a pretty good series to watch. And to be honest, I'm still first finding my steps in the Miata series, and they've got some really good stuff going on, some really good stuff to kind of build on as well.
So leaders now on the 10th lap. We have 7.25 minutes remaining. Aidan Hills still, having taken the lead a few laps ago, still holding on to it. But the pace is getting quicker and quicker, as Paul O'Neill's recent fastest lap of the race shows. Morris, Langridge, Chapman, Lee, Declan Lee in 6th place. John Robinson, number two in 7th place. And in 8th place is number 33. Number 33, Dylan Stepney, one of the late entries.
Was quite a late entry in terms of that. And just having a look at this, is heading up towards the right-hander of Coppice, and then they'll exit out of that right-hander, still going on for the battle of the lead here. And I think it's time to get to crunch time for Paul O'Neill. He's only got 6.5 minutes to make that manoeuvre count, and by count I mean get past Mr. Aidan Hills, who has had a really good record so far in the Miata Trophy, a pole position to his name and 2 wins and 2 podiums, so not a stranger to the top step, and could potentially take a third. So the most successful drivers currently so far in the Miata Trophy Championship. It could be on for a third title, but of course he'll have to try and relinquish the challenge from Paul O'Neill. That bit is still flapping away there on the 28 there, still almost hitting the ground. I just wonder if that's ever going to start popping up, and I think the stewards will have to start looking at that and investigating if that's ever going to either fall off, or if that's going to potentially just fly off, hopefully not into the path of anybody. Hopefully maybe to the side.
Well, as we saw in last weekend's touring car racing, these flapping bits of bodywork prompt the black and orange flag. But it seems that is being allowed to stay as it was, which is better for the racing.
Yeah, it's always unfortunate. Yeah, it's always unfortunate to bring a driver into the pits like that, especially if they're having a decent race. But sometimes the safety does come first, and if that piece of debris is really needs to be pulled off, then I'm sure we'll have the black and meatball flag, which I don't think I've ever seen. I think I've only seen it once ever in my time of being at a racetrack.
Seen what?
the black and meatball flag.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's only been once, but whoa, that's a bit of a rusty move, a bit of a move there, and I think that's Fletcher getting past Robinson. So that's the battle for 8th place. But look how many cars are going into that battle.
It's Lundy getting involved. Actually, he's the one who Rowan Lundy's come back into the picture. He's there.
He has, looking around the outside. Will he be able to get the traction there? And Stott just sitting back there in P11 like he's in a cinema, watching some really good box office stuff.
Okay, so Aidan Hills continues to lead. 11 laps completed. The gap was 0.425 of a second. So despite Paul O'Neill's best efforts, he is at the moment unable to get himself into a position to seriously challenge Aidan Hills. But having said that, we may suddenly discover that he's right on the case and is about to take the place back, take the lead back.
He is, but I think he still has to push on here. He still has to, as I said, crunch time is very much apparent here. But this is super entertaining, despite it being down in the lower parts of the standings. It is still tooth and nail, and the number 4 getting involved there of Stott. So he's decided, well, I'm not going to sit back for the entire time because there's some points to gain here, and there's also some time to gain here. Paul O'Neill, we look back at the lead race, gaining a last time around there and going 2 tenths fast, just over a tenth faster as well, so almost a tenth and a half. So to continue to hassle and hound at the heel of Aidan Hills there. But down Craner Curve they come. Let's just follow this battle for as long as we possibly can, because they go in towards Old Hairpin and they just fly their way out, try and get the better exit. They're really just on the limit every single time. It does look like a simple drive for a lot of these cars, but I promise you, behind the wheel, they're having their moments. I think Will Morris is starting to go into the battle here once again. Paul O'Neill is still there. He's filling up mirrors of Aidan Hill, and that's exactly what he needs to be doing. Get Hills looking in the mirrors, get him looking right, get him looking left, and then forcing him into a mistake, distracting him. That's going to be Will Morris going off the circuit. Has he managed to rejoin there, or is he going to be beats there? He looks like he's just about managing to keep the place there.
But he's lost all that ground. So
he has.
That's he was just trying to get on terms with the top 2, and he was getting ever closer. And made that mistake coming through Coppice, so that he's gone through the dust, gone through the gravel, and is not in contention. Now they've gone through to start. It won't be their last lap, will it? They've got time for this lap, plus the one they've just started, plus one more, going through Redgate at the moment. And as they... we go back to this flapping rear bumper, fender, whatever you want to call it, of that car we focus on. But up at the front, we've got a real battle on our hands between the 2 leaders, Aidan Hills and Paul O'Neill. We're good to see that in the closing stages, which we are into now. Just one more lap. Here we are. No sooner asked than you're given. And it is number 8. Aidan Hills still has the lead, but Paul O'Neill trying everything he knows as he follows Aidan Hills up the little brow towards Coppice Corner, through Coppice, clipping the curb there, but not too much. And certainly Aidan Hills has done a very impressive job here. He hasn't won it yet. He's got another lap to do after this one, I would say. Yes, one more lap.
Yeah, and after this, that's going to be some really superb stuff and really nail-biting stuff. I'm sure we'll have those nails gone by the end of this, especially if Paul O'Neill decides to launch a fight here, launches a move there. But down towards Redgate Corner again, just gaining, slowly edging towards the rear bumper of Aidan Hills, but just not able to get alongside. I think that's where he needs to be. He needs to make sure he's alongside here. I think he's going to try and give it his all. I don't think it's going to be a do or die situation, because the last thing you want to be doing is damaging the car, and I think he's going to have to be a tad careful in that one, but he's controlled it beautifully. But Aidan Hill has just had that upper hand all the way through, especially when he managed to get that overtake done.
Cutting back to lower down the order, when what we need to see is what's going on for the lead. Because there we are. So we've still got number 8 in front. It's still Aidan Hills just holding off Paul O'Neill, but Paul O'Neill is closing up again as they come up out of McLean's up towards Coppice. And there's about, 3 lengths between them as they go through Coppice. I think the Aidan Hills are a little bit quicker through there than Paul O'Neill perhaps is. Anyway, they're onto the home straight now, going down past Exhibition Centre, down towards the chicane for the final time, and it's still just Aidan Hills in front as they come into that final right and then left and come up towards the checkered flag. And Aidan Hills it is who's going to take the win for Paul O'Neill. And that was a great battle, and I think they'll draw alongside each other and smile and wave and say well done chaps. And in 3rd, 4th and 5th places, only now crossing the line, John Langridge, number 5, eventually made it through into 3rd place, getting ahead of Will Morris, who drops to 4th after his moment in the gravel up at Coppice with a couple of laps to go. Will Morris then in 4th place, number 17, in 5th place, number 19, number 19 being David Chapman. In 6th place, number 1, Declan Lee, who had quite a lot of ground to make up, and ended up in 6th place. In 7th place, number 33, Dylan Stepney. In 8th place, number 88, Rowan Lundy. In 9th place, number 26, Drew Fletcher, who was much better placed early on, but he and number 2, John Robinson, fell down the order a little after incidents. In 11th place, number 4, Nicholas Stott. In 12th place, 42, Carly Atkins. In 13th place, number 62, Kevin Sylvain, who came up from the very back of the grid after his time being disallowed in qualifying. He finishes in 13th place. In 14th place, 55, Simon Fleet. In 15th place, number 28, Jack Hodges. And behind Jack Hodges in 16th place, number 40, Ray Worley. In 17th place, number 68, Martin Heath. In 18th place, number 121, Gary Smith. And Adam, have a chance to talk to the drivers who make the podium. I just should add now, it is the lunch break, which is starting a bit late, but I don't know that we'll have time to accommodate an extended lunch break, or we need to make up time, I think. Anyway, the first race after lunch, scheduled to start at 14:40, 20 to 3, will be the 7 racing Caterham 310Rs and 270.
Down in pit lane with Aidan Hills, and incredible, what a win. You seem a bit tired out there.
Yeah, it was hard work. Michael, whose car this is, he couldn't race today, so he decided, thankfully to Michael and Safe Side for trusting me with his car. I feel like I'm racing his cars more than my own at the moment, because I've been racing his Ginetta as well, so massive thanks to him for trusting me with it. And yeah, the Hills Motorsport team did a great job. I literally jumped in, done 3 laps of quali this morning, and felt a bit rusty with this car, because I haven't driven this particular Mazda for a while. And yeah, in the race, you just don't think about that stuff, do you? And it's amazing to be able to race with Paul O'Neill, someone I watch on TV a lot and watch when I was younger when he was racing touring cars. So it's, it's nice for me to be able to race with him, and we had such a good, really nice, clean race. It was amazing.
Let's just go back to that kind of start, Faye, because that was that was where you need to try and get the best start, and you managed to scoot your way through the field. Talk about that.
Yeah, I think I've raced these cars for a long time, and the experience got me up to Paul by the end of that one. And to be honest, I didn't think I was going to have the pace, but the more the race went on, the car was coming to me. And when I got into the lead, it was I wouldn't say it was comfortable at all, because you've got BTCC race winner on your back bumper for 20 minutes. But yeah, it was an amazing race, and credit to him, credit to, like I said, everyone in my team. Thanks for safe sight. And yeah, we'll go again later this afternoon.
And tell me, just how did you cope with the pressure of Paul behind you? Because that's never easy.
Nah, it's not easy, is it? But like I said, I've got a fair bit of experience racing these Mazdas, and I've raced against a lot of quick people as well over the years. So yeah, I've been racing for 20 years, so I think I managed to soak the pressure up a little bit. But still, he pressured me into a few mistakes that I don't normally make. So yeah, it was just a really fun race, and yeah, I'm looking forward to race 2, and hopefully we can have more of the same.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going to go on that one. How excited are you for race 2?
Yeah, really buzzing. I mean, we've got in the Hills Motorsport team, we've got 8-9 cars that we're running today, so it's going to be a busy couple of hours getting them all ready for the next race. So yeah, won't be much of a chill, let's say, before, but yeah, when we jump in the car, 5 o'clock this afternoon, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely, thank you very much. And I think we'll go on to Mr. Paul O'Neill. I think he spotted me. Brilliant, amazing. What a return to racing. How about that?
Absolutely amazing, yeah. It was, I mean, to be fair, he was so good to me. He could have turned me round down at the hairpin for the lead, first of all, and he didn't. He was very kind, very good. And then, yeah, we've been chasing this car's setup all yesterday, and I've got to say, Miller Motorsport have been absolutely amazing. All the lads have had the car up and down, but, I never, ever thought middle of Friday I was going to be having a great time here. So pleased, so made up, and it's good to have my friends and family here as well, so that's good.
Oh, that's brilliant. What was it like being at the front? Because I don't know where you thought you'd be going into the weekend, but you found yourself right at the sharp end, and it's like it never left you.
Yeah, well, I've never been up that far, to be honest, in my whole career. I've had some decent results in British touring cars, but no, the car was brilliant. I knew what I had to do. Listen, the lads in this, the top 10 are very fast drivers, and I was 95% all of that race, and then, to be fair, I thought I'll attack at the end, but by that time I don't know the tyre enough, and the tyre just started to give way. So yeah, but I really enjoyed that, and it's great to have my teammate John on the podium with us as well. So just made up, and everyone's been great here. Brilliant.
Is there kind of any plans to maybe enter this series maybe a bit of full time, because it looks like you've totally enjoyed yourselves?
Oh, absolutely loved it. Yeah, loved it. But the problem is it costs money, and believe it or not, I don't actually earn a lot of money. So I love racing. It's my profession for coaching. So when I race on track, I need to do well. So I'm very fortunate that I'm racing with some good guys, and they could really make sure we had a good, clean race, and it was all good. So listen, I'll race anything, but at the end of the day, it costs money, and my mum and dad, they don't have much money, and they're in the stands now, probably laughing at that comment.
Thank you so much. Go and enjoy your time. Go and have a bit of a chill, and then into race 2, and then of course John, who had a bit of a rough race. He had to make his way through a couple of cars. To kind of talk about that start phase, because I know you came quite the way back from where you kind of started.
Yeah, started P8, and to be honest, most of the race was relatively irrelevant for me. I did a lot of work in the first 2 laps and managed to get up into 4th, and then I just didn't quite have the pace of these fellas, or will, and I just tried to stay in touch just in case there's like a track limits problem later on, and then big slice of luck came my way as Will threw into the scenery a little bit, but that's racing.
How do you kind of keep yourself motivated in those kind of times where you're kind of stranded, you're on your own, you have no one to battle with?
Motivation's not really a problem. You're driving a car around one of the best circuits in the country, and something can happen at any moment, so it's all good.
And kind of how are you starting to feel about the second race? Of course, that's going to be coming up very soon. Do you have kind of a plan to get involved with that kind of top leading group?
I think the way the race went just now, we've got to just sort of do the first couple of laps, see how it pans out. You know, the Miller Motorsport car with the Cambridge FD branding was so good today. Just need to chip away at my later race pace, but we'll get there.
Absolutely, and it looks like we are going to be going on our lunch break here at Donington Park, but be sure to be joining us here with the Miata Trophy, because my goodness, we're going to have an awesome race here in race 2. Stay tuned.